I think they run it off from up there. Yeah.
Did you want to try that microphone?
Oh, sure. How
Yeah.
does that sound?
It sounds great.
Good?
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Could you try to advance a slide really quick?
Sure.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right, we'll be back
Okay.
for you. Sorry. Now try it. And again, sorry. There we go. We were clicked out of the screen, so we're back in business.
No problem. Thank you. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome. We are going to go ahead and get started today. Thank you all so much for joining us and for being here. My name is Amy Whitman, and I am the Interim Associate Vice Chancellor for Student Affairs for Career Development. Welcome to Washington University. On behalf of our entire team in the Career Center, we are eager to meet your students and to have the opportunity to get to know them by name and by story. So today, for a short while we are together, I would like to spend time providing you with an overview of the Career Center program in order to give you a sense of how we think about and approach this work and how we intend to work and support your students. Joining me today are two of my wonderful colleagues, Jim Burney, who is our Director of External Relations at the Career Center, and Carol Moakley, who is our Associate Director for Career Development, and they will both be joining me just shortly. We are also very delighted to have a panel of students and young alumni who would like to share some of their reflections and advice with you as well. Thank you again for being here. So today I would like to start with an overview of our mission, which informs our why for how we do our work. We are here to provide career education to your students in order to prepare them for a successful launch into their first career pathway. Our approach includes a 4-year developmental model that starts in the first year and includes a strong emphasis on preparation through engagement with the world of work, through experiential learning such as internships, volunteer work, and mentoring. We support and coach students who are actively exploring, seeking, and discovering, as well as those with more clearly defined career goals. We also support students as they move along this continuum. Our philosophy and our approach is to meet students where they are. We are an opt-in program, and we strongly recommend engagement beginning during the first year. It is also good to know that we provide preparation for all post-graduation pathways, including professional experiences in the world of work, as well as graduate school, law school, medical school, and gap year and self-authored opportunities. Much of this work happens through collaboration and shared leadership with our campus partners. I am very, very grateful to have the opportunity to work with an incredibly talented and committed team of colleagues. Our team is organized into 3 different functional areas, including career development, employer relations, and operations. At its heart, our work is to be educators, coaches, and relationship builders. Our Career Center team brings expertise in leadership, business, social work, law, consulting, communications, medicine, government, the sciences, art practice and administration, and think tanks. All are experienced career advisors and employer engagement experts who look forward to working with your students over these next 4 years in a variety of ways. Our career education program is built on a foundation of the importance of relationships with our students. We aspire to know each of our students by name and by story, so we can provide individualized, customized guidance, coaching, and support. This work happens through a career education approach that we call assess, explore, search, and launch, through which students learn the critical skills of career preparation. Our model is framed by guiding principles of early and regular engagement, meaningful pre-professional experiences, and the importance of networks and personal boards of advisors. We teach these skills to your students through individualized career coaching, group advising experiences, career interest groups, workshops, and programs. Also through 4-credit academic courses and collaborations through and with our campus partners and other key stakeholders. Another very important aspect of our work is to develop and cultivate employment relationships with our alumni and employer partners. As I have mentioned, we have a dedicated and talented team who focus on this work, which includes developing internship and full-time employment opportunities for our students, including designing on-campus interviewing experiences, and collaborating and organizing employer engagement and recruitment experiences such as Meet with a Pro events featuring alumni and professional speakers, industry panels, employer information sessions and events, all-campus career fairs, which are happening virtually at the moment, and events that we call slams, where we bring in employer partners and alumni to tell short stories about their work. So I'd like to start out and tell you a little bit about some of the steps that we recommend for your students to be thinking about during their first and second years. So the first is to identify their why. And by this we mean to really think about what are their unique skills, what are their interests, what brings them joy, what do they value, and to start to explore how they can translate this into future opportunities. We talk a lot about cultivating a growth mindset, so preparing and experiencing opportunities for things to maybe work out differently than they had imagined, or to experience what they might think of as failure, but we think of as important growth. So all of these are key skill sets that we see as integral to the career education journey at WashU. As we think about their career planning work, we see it as being very integrated between their academic experience, their co-curricular experience, and then what they are doing also outside of the classroom in other ways. So bringing all of these pieces together and starting to make meaning is a part of what we try to help our students explore. We are very committed to the importance of trying on as many different experiences as possible. We think this is a critical way for our students to develop and continue to skill build. So this is going to translate into internships, research opportunities, micro internships, shadowing experiences, anything that is going to help them engage with the world of work. And then finally, we talk a lot about building a personal board of advisors. So this could include faculty, their academic advisor, we hope a career advisor, other mentors in the community. It could also be their peers. And these are people who they can go to and seek feedback from in order to continue to learn and grow. Oops, excuse me, let me go back. Then, as we look ahead to junior and senior year, we start to think a little bit more about some next steps for students to further explore. So this includes continued feedback seeking from advisors and mentors, really starting to understand and practice what are the search strategies that they're going to need to employ in order to apply to graduate school, apply to professional school, or seek employment post-graduation. We continue to stress the importance of experiential learning, so trying on internships, trying on any other kinds of experiences that are going to help them develop a portfolio of skills. Networking and connecting with alumni and professionals in the world of work. and then really understanding and leaning into those hiring practices and applying for opportunities. So that is an overview of how we think about the approach and what it is that we'll be coaching your students to do. I wanted to just briefly share with you the outcome snapshot from the class of 2020. So our students do very well post-graduation. 90% of our students end up in either employment or graduate or professional experiences at 6 months post-WashU. So we are very proud of their success and continue to encourage them to do the good and necessary work over the course of their 4 years in order to get to these outcomes. I also wanted to highlight for you just some of the many places that our students end up landing after they leave WashU. So as you can see, they go on to work for a number of different organizations. They are in all different types of industries, and they go on to any number of graduate school programs as well. Okay, so just a few other pieces that I wanted to share with you. So in terms of how you can support your student during this time in terms of their career education. So the first is be curious. Actually, I'm sure it's stay curious. And by that, I mean ask them questions, really seek to understand what are they learning, what are the experiences that they are having that are getting them engaged, where they feel excited, where they feel like they are in flow. So I think really having that sort of openness and curiosity about what their experience is will be very helpful for them to start to articulate for themselves and further define where are their greatest strengths and skills. We would love your continued partnership and help with really encouraging them to think very expansively about possibilities. So now is not necessarily the time to be on a very narrow pathway. We really think that the first and second year are all about expanding options, really creating and imagining all different possibilities that are out there. So really helping your student to sort of have that orientation and perspective, we think will help them really start to identify what are potential pathways that they can and should explore. Please encourage and invite them to engage with the Career Center in some way over the course of their first year with us. We would love to see them at an in-person Career Center event or a virtual Career Center event. Any opportunity that they have just to start to connect and engage with our office and our team is very helpful. And then seeking out actively those career conversations that are going to help them start to think about how will they translate what they are learning? How will they start to imagine and apply the different skills that they are building over the course of their time with us? And these career conversations can happen with people on our team in the Career Center, but they also can happen with their academic advisors, with their faculty, with other advisors throughout the community. So really starting to think about having these important career conversations. And then finally, we would love to have each of our students plan for some type of pre-professional experience in summer of 2022. So this does not need to be a 40-hour-a-week internship experience, although it could be, but it might be a shadowing opportunity. It might be spending a few days in a particular organization just learning about what they do. It could be research. It could be some type of strategic volunteer opportunity. It could be a micro internship. So really encouraging them to think about beginning to build this portfolio of skills and experiences that are going to help them learn and help them start to make meaning and apply the skills that they are learning in their classroom. Okay, so that is my advice about how to support your student. So now I would like to invite up Jim Burney, who is going to talk for just a few minutes about other ways to support the WashU student community more broadly. Jim.
Thank you, Amy. Send us your internships. Send us your full-time jobs. We can get them out to the students. We can help prep the students and give them the opportunities that you currently have. You can hire an intern. You can hire a co-op. You can possibly sponsor a roadshow. We have scores of roadshows in about a dozen different cities, and we hope in 2022 that we will begin our roadshows again and taking students on the road so they can go into your offices, your factories, your plants, and find out what work is all about firsthand. WashU Connects is a brand new platform we just launched this past year, and I would categorize it as a kind of an intimate LinkedIn platform. But we've invited WashU faculty, staff, alumni, students, and we'd like to invite parents to join WashU Connects. If you Google WashU Connects, as it's spelled up there, you can find out how to join that. And we found that students are much more interested and feel more comfortable reaching out to folks in this platform to have those informational interviews, to have those career conversations, to expand their horizons. And finally, if you have any other questions about interacting with us, you've got my email here, and I will also be around after the presentation. Thank you.
All right, thank you, Jim. So now I would like to invite Carol Moakley and our panel of 2 students and 1 young alum to join us, and they are going to share some reflections and thoughts and advice with you as well. So welcome, Carol. Thank you all for being here.
Thank you, Amy. Welcome, everybody. I know it's been a full orientation. I've had the pleasure to meet some of you, and it's great to see you here today. We wanted to bring a couple folks to kind of illuminate the slides and the career education process. And so we've asked these lovely humans who are all different ages and stages to answer a couple. We've come up with 3 questions. And by the way, these are not random people that we have here. We do know them a little bit, but they are not scripted. So whatever they say is awesome. So just do quick intros. Luke Kwong is on the end, and Luke graduated just this past spring of 2021. He's from Los Angeles, okay? Yael Silberman is a junior right now, and she is from McAllen, Texas. Any Texas people in the audience? Yeah? Okay, McAllen, Texas. And then Rahul Khanna is a current sophomore. We walked in here today. He's from St. Louis, and he said, "I've never been in here before."
involved in research, and I spent my time learning more about it, and I realized there that what I really wanted, what was missing, was that patient interaction and being able to build those relationships with people and knowing that I'm making a difference. And that, towards the end of my second year, I realized that this was the career I wanted to pursue, as in medicine. And so I'm really happy that I spent these 2 years kind of exploring and now being ready to commit to a career that is as sacrificing as medicine. But I'm so excited and I couldn't be happier, so.
All of high school, I really wanted to become a lawyer. So I came into WashU like pretty headstrong, I guess. Like I dropped into like the law and society class. I joined the pre-law society off the bat, and all of that kind of changed very quickly. I came in as an economics and political science major, and like I think a month in, like I sent an email to my advisor like, hey, I want to switch to McKelvey to become a computer science major. And then a couple months later, I didn't like my CS class that much. So I was like, okay, let me switch to the School of Business to study finance. And then I came back to arts and sciences at the very end to study economics and math. I think that's what I'm settled on so far. So I came in pretty strong as wanting to pursue a career in law, and that kind of switched. I found that business and finance kind of interested me a lot. And after doing like an internship or two, I think that is something that I fit pretty well into, and it's only been a year, so we'll see how that kind of changes. But I guess like the moral of the story is that like things are open to change, and it's okay to bounce around a lot of times because you don't know like what exactly like you're settled into before you try it.
Thank you guys so much. Let's start with Yael this time. What experiences have been most impactful in navigating your career direction so far?
So something that I learned throughout my first 2 years was that you could really take your passions and use them to create experiences that are really beneficial for your career. So for example, research. I've always wanted to learn more about mental health, emotions. So I quite literally went on Google and typed undergraduate lab mental health and found a lab, applied at the psychological and brain sciences department here at WashU, and now I'm part of their team. And it was such a great experience. And it was towards the end of this second year that I met with my lab coordinator outside of lab hours just to chat. And we sat down and really talked about where my head was at, my ideas, what I wanted for myself in the future. And that's kind of how I realized that maybe a PhD in cognitive neuroscience wasn't what I was looking for. And so that was a really, really big experience for me. Another one that I'm really excited for is, so being from South Texas, I've done a lot of service work with immigrant families that cross over daily. And so that's a population of people that I really wanted to continue to help and work for coming to St. Louis. And so actually, after meeting with Ms. Sarah Sperry, who's part of the Career Center, I learned more about Casa de Salud, which is a clinic that serves the uninsured and refugee populations of St. Louis. And so I just applied, so hopefully it goes well, but I'm really excited, so.
So after I decided that I might want to pursue a career in like business or finance, through the help of the Career Center and like leveraging like my parents' connections and like my friends, I started looking for internships because it's really hard to like find like an environment that you fit in without actually being in that environment first. So I thought an internship would be a great way to see if I not only like fit in like a banking or finance type environment, but like if I'm good at that in the first place. So I did an internship this summer at a bank downtown called Stifel, and it turned out to be a really good experience because I ended up really liking that environment and like the collegiate atmosphere of it. So I'd suggest like internships as a good way to figure out if your track or your passions are truly what you want to do.
Awesome, thanks. Okay, Luke. I know you have had a lot of experiences in college because I know you the best. So pick the ones that are most important.
Yes, I was Carol's academic advisee for 4 years. That's, well, not the only reason why I'm here, but the two that I will pick are the two that are most recent. The first is I worked at a company called Thrivent Financial. as I had mentioned already, doing business analytics there. I think I really enjoyed that experience, not only because it was good work. I kind of was able to do a consulting-like position there, kind of helping their program and what they were trying to implement. I was specifically in financial advice for anyone who is familiar with that. But I think the reason I enjoyed that was because I really enjoyed that relationship with my manager. So I think I have a very strong understanding of and expectations for what a good manager is and what kind of a relationship I would want to build in the future with a manager in any of my positions following. And I think that really helped me gain an understanding of the business by having conversations with him and be able to do good work because he knew what I was interested in, and he was able to hand me things that he thought would further help me in my learning and development of my career. The other experience is somewhat of a non sequitur from doing business and doing consulting. I was an RA and also WUSA. I see you guys back there. Thank you. In college, and kind of actually similar to Yale with mental health. I think that was a big part of what I became passionate about throughout college. I've actually even carried that in. I work at a text line right now, post-college, so that's a little bit of a plug. Encourage your students to do things outside of school and outside of their career, and those things that interest and that passion can continue even after college, even if you don't make a career out of it. But being an RA also really helped me with just, I think, understanding a lot of soft skills, working with people, building relationships, being responsible for other people, building programs, and building community. And I think all of those are pretty underrated skills, or just skills that you don't realize you're picking up as you do this job. But then when you enter into the work world, you realize, oh, I can stand apart with these leadership skills that I have, or with these communication skills that I have. And I think that's been really cool to see as well.
Awesome. So I think we need to begin to wind down and give some time for Q&A. I wonder if each of you has a quick word of advice for the folks in the audience.
I guess my piece of advice would be really help your student by leveraging your network. My internship last semester wouldn't have been possible without a friend of my dad's helping me through the application process at the firm. So I'd say really reach out in your network to help your student find what exactly they need, because especially in the first 2 years of college, it's really hard to find an internship in the specific niche that you want without having a connection or two help you get there.
Yael?
I would say to trust your student, but also to encourage them to use all of WashU's resources, just because there's such an extensive list, and know that there is no one correct journey of reaching where they want to be, and just support them, endless support, endless encouragement, and yeah, that's what I would say.
I think my piece of advice is to communicate. I think oftentimes a discussion about career, I know in my own experience with my parents, can just be this huge thing that you bring up once a year right before the summer. What are you doing? But I think discussions and communication about career should be an open dialogue, learning for you to learn what your students care about, and for students to be able to share what they're doing in college, what they're interested in, what are their classes like. And having that kind of open dialogue makes it a lot easier to then talk about internships or talk about connections that you may have or things that you may know that they don't even know. So
Thank you all so much. Thank you.
Thank you to our amazing panelists for sharing your perspective and advice and wisdom. We really appreciate it, so thank you. Okay, we have just a few minutes left, so what I would love to do, if I could please ask our wonderful WUSAs to help us with this. We would love to just create some space for Q&A. If anyone has any questions that any of us may answer for you, we would love to be able to do that. So our WUSAs are going to walk up and down the aisles, and they do have a microphone. If you wouldn't mind asking your questions so that we may all hear you, and that also helps our folks who are watching via the live stream so that they can hear your questions as well. So we'll spend a few minutes on this, and then we will wrap up. So any questions from the audience that we can explore with you? Yes, it looks like we have a question down here.
Yeah, I'd like to ask the panelist, when did you get involved with the Career Center? And during the undergraduate process, what area do you think they help you the best? Thank you.
I reached out to the Career Center like pretty early on, which like you don't have to do by any means, but I thought like having someone to support me, not only with like resume preparation, but helping to figure out like what, like even like what personality type I am and what career that necessarily fits into. Like, so I reached out like in October of my freshman year, so it was pretty early. And I guess the biggest piece of help was like they provided like every single resource I possibly needed to get to like the application or career like I wanted to get into. So just like resources across the board, like if there's anything you need to find or like any like specific like piece of advice you need for your resume or yeah.
Any other thoughts, panelists? We're good.
I echo everything that was said.
All right, thank you. Thank you for your question. Any other questions?
Thank you. How people get help to get a job on campus and also get a research done in the medical lab, for example?
Thank you for your question. So I can address that and then would be happy to ask any of my colleagues to jump in as well. So we have a database called Career Link where we house all of our internship and also post-graduation opportunities, and that also includes on-campus positions as well. So that would be a great place to direct your student to go there first as a place to find on-campus jobs. Research experiences are housed centrally through the Office of Undergraduate Research, and students also sometimes end up reaching out to a particular lab or a faculty member who they might have some alignment with their research interests or areas of focus to ask if they might potentially be able to join them in their research labs. So it really happens both ways. Any of my colleagues, anything you would add into that? Or our panelists?
I think Yael said she Googled.
I quite literally looked up my interests and typed in undergraduate research lab, and a lot of labs happen to have websites, and they have a tab that allows them to contact them, and that's where you'll find the application. Or it's simply just cold emails, reaching out, introducing yourself. And the WashU faculty is we're a family, and so everyone's always looking to help and support their students. So.
Great, thank you. Yes.
So specifically, how do they get in touch with you? Do they make an appointment? Do they drop in? Do they go to an event? Or probably all three? Yes. Whatever works for them. Sometimes it's organic. Sometimes, like Luke and I were paired in an academic advising situation, so we just met that way. Sometimes it's whatever's working for your student. They can look up on our website and see the bios of our advisors, and that might be one way to sort of identify, okay, this person looks like they might be kind of a match with what I'm interested in. They can just walk in the door literally and meet with a career peer advisor. There's just a lot of different ways, and we can reach out to them. We reach out to students by class on a regular basis as well. Thank you.
Thank Thank you. Okay. I'm
Just
sorry,
a
I'm
quick-
having a little trouble seeing people raising their hands because of the lighting. So I would ask my WUSA partners if you can help by passing the microphones
Just a quick
around.
question.
Yes.
How does it, are there different career centers for the different schools, business, engineering, arts and sciences, or is it all together? How does that relationship work?
Sure. Thank you for your question. So we, all of us are part of the Career Center, which is a centralized resource that's available to students from all 5 undergraduate divisions, and we work with and support students from all 5 undergraduate divisions. So we have people on our team who are both generalists and also specialists. So amongst our team, we have some of our advisors who work specifically with our students at Sam Fox and also at McKelvey. And then the Olin Business School also has its own embedded resource, the Weston Career Center, which is another layer of resource for students who are in the Olin Business School. Did I answer your question? Okay. All right. Any other questions? Okay, well, thank you all so much for joining us today. We are really grateful for your time and thank you for being here. If there's anything that I may do to help your student or Carol or Jim, please do not hesitate to reach out to us. And otherwise, thank you so much and enjoy the rest of your afternoon. Take care. Thank you.